Hello, hello, test, test, test. Hello, hello, test, test, test. Hello, hello, test, test. Alright, that seems to be working wonderfully. Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's stream. Tokugawa, say that you're already in there. Very nice. P8 Merchant, looking forward to your quality result as per usual. Welcome to the second pre-season round for the 2005 GT1 season, I believe this is, yes. It's going to be still no points on offer today. So once again, your host, WMDR Martin. No additional commentators for tonight, but we should, and this has been set in stone, we should have our next commentator join us as points are on offer in the very next race. So that should be something to look forward to. A lot of people are very impatient to get out on track. Seeing some racing action here as people try and get their tires into a good window and get to the line as quickly as possible. $14 people in the session so far, so if you happen to be a reserve and you haven't joined, I'm sure that there is still plenty of space for you. Attendance will be a bit higher once points are on offer, I'm sure. Lots of people driving with their lights on as well. Not mandatory, but always nice to see. It's definitely not the easiest of corners there. You can see a bit of a twitch from the Aston. Car belongs to... who is that? That is in fact Ricky, our P3 finisher from last week. Looked to be on for the win early on, but it wasn't to be. Still a very good podium though. Wonder what we'll be looking forward to tonight, result-wise. Just let me quickly fix a Discord setting. Alright. Good to go. No times have been set as of yet. The first laps are underway. And every single driver is now out on the grid, so that is good to see. No one being too lazy in the pit lane tonight. Looks like XS has a new livery in the Lambo. Almost camouflaged with parts of the off-road there. A very, very crowded third sector, it must be said. I guess Dirty Air might not be too much of an issue if they're all that close together. As Mammoth has set the first lap time of 1:39.5. He's immediately trumped by both Ricky and Keza. Ricky with some pretty strong pace right from the get-go. The only driver into the 1:38s. Let's go on board with Ricky, who is actually one of the drivers driving in some dirty air. Chasing down another Aston. Speaking of Aston Martin, they should be revealing the F1 livery on their new car around about now. I've heard there are some delays. See Ricky just very, very controlled into Sector 2 now. Inching ever closer to that other Aston. Just up ahead, that is in fact Keza, so that's actually, if dirty air is not an issue, that is actually the ideal scenario for Ricky, because he knows he's not going to be catching Keza that much, as they are fairly similar pace-wise. And not getting too close means he won't be impeded, and he will have all of the straight line speed he wants with that slipstream on the straights. Oh, as I say that though, Keza has decided to delete that future slipstream by sending himself into the barriers. And back into the pits. Can I count that as a commentator's curse? I feel like I should. I feel like I should. That would be a curse for... Again for Ricky, because I was talking about how he would get slipstream. Huh. Off to a great start. Yeah, that's quite something. 4 commentators' curses so far this season, and 3 of them have been for Ricky. I should really stop giving this guy so much screen time. Gilish Hamann in the Maserati. Down through the same set of corners that we saw Ricky going through a moment ago. Using all of the curb, avoiding a bit of that sausage. Can really unsettle the car. So far, less than a 10th behind Ultimate Keza, but I don't think this is a push lap. There's a bit of weaving going on here. And that best lap delta would suggest that this is indeed not the best that Gilish has to offer. I don't think he's 54 seconds off the pace. Some other drivers to look out for. Mats VR, currently down in 13th, one of 2 drivers yet to set a time. Definitely a pole contender. I do like the custom license plate, using his driver number. Kaku down in 14th, yet to set a time as well. Ooh, some interesting track limits there in the final corner. As Mats crosses the line, does he set a time? No, this will be the start of his push lap. Let's go on board with the MSR champion. Of course, multiple champions on the grid this season. Keza still to this day the most decorated of the bunch. Not always at the absolute apex of speed, but definitely one of the more consistent drivers, as Mats settles the score with that 200-meter board. Seemingly quite careful on throttle not to lose the rear end through the long right-hander, now into a bit more of a downhill hairpin. I don't think he quite got the maximum speed out of that one. Very sheepishly into this section. Takes a very, very good car to take that quickly. Washing out a bit wide in this high-speed right-hander as well. I don't think this is going to be a pole lap. The game not giving us any deltas either, so it will be a bit of a surprise. But again, deep into the newer hairpin. And no, he's aborted the lap entirely. I think that is letting Eddie through. So Eddie can finish his lap, currently in 5th position, 7.5 tenths behind pole. Matt's going to start his new lap in his slipstream. Does Eddie improve? Not at the moment. Where is Cuckoo? Cuckoo now going through Sector 2 as well. In some dirty air. Just behind one of the Dodge Vipers. I know now that it is not a Corvette. That has been brought to my attention. Oh, well, I just, well, the person who was most offended by me saying that last week was, in fact, Andrew, calling himself the P8 Merchant, is at this moment in P8. So that is quite something. He is about as consistent as it gets, I'd have to say. But you have to forgive me for calling that a Corvette, because that is very much Corvette yellow. Gillish now in the pits, currently almost 9/10 off of provisional pole, so that means Keza has set a new benchmark. Now on provisional pole with a 38.3, only one of 2 drivers in the 38s. Seems like the rest of the grid really struggling to even get close. 139s, 140s galore on this current 14 car grid. Valorkel, one of the new drivers, seemingly really struggling for pace, potentially just making some mistakes on his push laps. And Matt's still yet to set a lap time as well. Only 5 minutes left. I don't think he'll be voluntarily doing the last to first challenge in a competitive event. As we now do have 3 drivers into the 138s. Eddie setting a new PB and doing a celebratory spin in turn 2, as he's now set a 138.9. Just shy of 2/10 away from Ricky. Still a hefty chunk of time behind Ultimate Kaiser, who now goes into the pits. So if he comes out of the pits again, he'll probably only have 1 or 2 more laps in him. Let's see where his teammate is right now. Matt's going through the first 2 corners again. Downhill left-hander, taking a lot of that inside curb. High revs out of the corner as well. Not short shifting in the least. Carrying a lot more speed through here than last time, but it's washed him out a little bit wide onto the sausage curb. Avoiding a lot of the inside curb in that corner. That is quite interesting. Now heavy braking into Sector 3. The modern hairpin. Getting really close to those sausage curbs. Making sure he doesn't lose the rear end of the car. Hugging the inside. Washing out a bit wide in the next one. Just having to wait for the car to turn in the penultimate corner as well. Missing the apex in the final corner. Not one of his finest laps, but we'll see where it puts him. And that is provisional P7 for Mats. Not pushing on the next lap. That is remarkable. I think he's only got 1 more chance to set a lap if he's in the pits now, so Mats with a lot to play for, still 1.5 seconds off of pole. Blitzen in 13th, currently more than a second behind his nearest rival. X once again struggling in that Lamborghini, which I was told is in fact the best car in this class. Seems to be an absolute handful to control on 2 different tracks now. Mats has now been overtaken by the MSR rookie, so that's down to 9th position now. A good effort from Valorkel. Now the top 11 within 2 seconds of pole position. Oh, and there's some more action there in turn 3. Someone sliding all over the shop. I think that is in fact Ricky. At least it's not one of my infamous commentator's curses this time, but I do wonder what has happened to that rear end of that car. It's going to be visual damage only, I'm sure, as this game is known for showing damage when there is none. Drivers often go back into the pits and come out fixing the damage, but that's not usually visible on stream, so. Escher in the chat, welcome, saying his pace would have been abysmal. It definitely seems like this is a tough track to be on the pace at. We still only have, well, we've gotten up to 4 other drivers within a second of P1 now, so that's at least something. But yeah, the field spread is a bit more than it was before, I think, at least. I don't have my professional second opinion Nismo here to back that up. For those just joining us, we will have a new commentator with us for, well, from next week onwards, hopefully for the rest of the season. Just couldn't quite make it to the 2 preseason rounds, but still definitely something to look forward to. Hello, SinVR, or KinVR, I'm not sure. I'm never sure how to pronounce the C. It's it should either be an S or a K. The C is a pointless letter. But welcome, and have fun, have lots of fun. Especially to those out on track tonight. Keza, I think, will be, well, retiring from quali because he has, in fact, set his best lap and gone into the pits, and his car is just dancing around a bit. Gillish now in P2 at the end of the session as well. Ricky still setting laps. This should be his final lap now. We go on board in Sector 1, well, the beginning of 2 now. Just needs a 1/10.5 to improve and overtake Gillish. Get that front row position. Bullet now in the pits as well, so he will not be improving from his P14 position. Hopefully his car will be a bit more stable in the race. Another driver to look out for currently is Eddie in 4th, still on track as well, looking to improve. Currently navigating the final few corners, and that is Ricky in the barriers. Hopefully we won't be seeing that happen in the race. Again, safety cars are a thing in this league. We just haven't had any in a long time because it does require 3 cars to be involved in an incident. And that just simply has not happened in a while. So a lot of clean driving lately, but we'll have to wait and see if that continues tonight. Eddie now crossing the line, currently 4th. Will he improve? Eddie stays 4th. I think he did improve a little bit, but it wasn't quite enough to gain anything. Matt's and Andrew very close pace-wise as well. Matt's having recovered up to P6, but that's as good as it gets tonight. That is quite remarkable. 1 second away from pole. Quite unusual indeed. I think his race pace will probably be a bit better than that. So your pole setter tonight is Ultimate Keza for the last preseason round, followed by Gillish, Ricky, Eddie, Mammoth. Matt's in 6th position, followed by Andrew, now the P7 Merchant. Rookie Varlorkel in 8th position, followed by Barons. JD rounding out the top 10. Cuckoo disappointingly down in 11th, followed by Exus in 12th. Xevious in 13th, and Bulletsan in 14th position. I think Xevious looking to massively improve in this race as well, as he was quite competitive last time round. The race will be underway in a few minutes. Everyone just getting their setups and pit strategies in order, and then it's going to be a formation lap with rolling starts, so no standing start in this league. According to Escher's statistics generated by AI, the best lap was a 1:41 on mediums. Interesting. I'll have to wait and see what our drivers can do. Of course, the cars generally a bit slower in the race compared to qualifying. Although in my case, when I was still racing, I somehow tended to be faster in the race than I was in qualifying. Not quite sure how that works, but to each their own. This is the position that the last place driver will be starting this race in. You can see 14 cars. Might not look like much when they're all spread out, but when they're all together like this, it is quite the group. Gotta love the rear of that Lamborghini as well. Though I doubt Bulletsan will be staring at that all race. Now we should have some updated liveries as well. Let's see if I can spot any. I think this is a new one here for Mammoth. Of course, can't quite rotate the camera around that car, but I think this one right here, then Exus in the Lambo and Bullet Sand behind. I assume those two are teammates. I won't double check that right now, but that does appear to be a new livery as well. So nice to see them matching up. Everyone's got their setups in order now. Formation lap starting now. It's also called a warm-up lap, but in my experience the tires tend to be a lot more cold by the end of it. You can see some drivers weaving to keep the heat in the tires. Though for tire temperatures though, this is quite a heavy track on the tires with all the G-forces in these high and medium speed corners. So I don't think cold tires will be too much of an issue here. Bullet Sand nearly impaling Exevius on the formation lap. That was pretty close. The Corvette dashboard is lovely, says Escher. I have to tell you, Escher, apparently that was not a Corvette. It is, in fact, a Dodge Viper, so my apologies for misleading my audience there. But just taking a look at that dash, it is quite nice indeed. I hope Exevius isn't looking at the dash too much, because he is quite close to that Lambo just up ahead. Wait, do we actually have a Oh, hold on. I see what you mean now. There we go. There is, in fact, an actual Corvette here. Just doesn't quite have the typical Corvette colors. Back to that dash cam. I'd have to agree. That is a nicer dash. A lot more fancy lights. Going through the final few corners now before the start of this race, as they all start to form up. I have to wonder what the design philosophy was behind that livery though, because it does seem to be a bit of an odd one out. No sponsors. Oh, I hope that was lag, because that seemed like a bit of contact in the final corner. Oh, that's definitely lag. Those are unnatural movements, and we might be losing our pole sitter. Will the race get underway? Because this is absolutely chaotic. The start appears to be aborted. I think we might be getting an extra formation lap. Gillish leading the field. As, oh, people pulling off the track there. I think we might be getting a full-on lobby reset. That is unfortunate. Hopefully Kaze's connection will be a bit better for the start of the second attempt. As the cars are phasing into alternate dimensions. And Bullet Sand, I think, potentially winning the race there unofficially. Nope, it says Gillish is P1. Alright. The only driver to retire without getting an official DNF. Nice. Looks like we're restarting in a separate lobby as well, so I'll see you guys in just a second. What a game indeed, Tokugawa. I know a game where that wouldn't have happened, but I'm not going to name drop it on this stream. At least not yet. No, it's not Assetto Corsa. Mario Kart is actually a good contender for that. I don't think that would have happened in Mario Kart. We could try and join Nurg the Berg. Drive Gym. If you do work with an actual sim rig, and you work that wheel hard enough, you will definitely build some muscle, I can tell you that. Monday Night Racing fun races, because all the other races are not fun, remember that. That seems to still be the old preseason lobby. Noob Elite. Shifter carts. Oh, it's password protected, that's a shame. Be safe, fun racing. I would say safe isn't in our dictionary, but considering that we haven't had a safety car in almost a year by now, I think our racing is quite safe. Les rats sembleurs. That's something about rats, but my French is not good enough to decipher what. Old folks racing. If we had Eisenschenk with us, he might be able to join that one. I do not need cheap viewers. Let me ban this guy. There we go. I'm guessing the new lobby is still not up yet. Could anyone confirm or deny? Hey, I found the MSR practice server. Just above the tourist farts. Lobby back up. Thank you very much, Asher. I like how the Steam overlay just does not show up. I always gotta remember the password. Let's take a look. Pretend you didn't see that. Getting some reports saying that Kaze is fumbling. Well, hopefully he gets all the fumbling out of his system before the race, because pole position is, well, of course, the best place to start it. He has everything to lose except for points tonight, because those are not on offer yet. And the game is telling me that we're going to be racing these cars. Those are not, in fact, GT1 2005s. I never noticed Matt's profile picture actually had eyes. Huh. The more you know. I have only started 6 offline races in this game. Oh. I will say that 40% qualifying is involuntary. I'm not a massive quali fan. Actually, as we get this lobby set up and everyone joining, I'm gonna quickly rehydrate myself and get some fresh water, so be right back. Alright, I have returned. Alright, I have returned. I came back to find part of my headset falling off. Yeah, this thing might need some replacing soon. But it does the job, and so will I tonight. So we have all 14 drivers once again getting their setups and pit strategies ready. You might think that they'd be able to ready up a bit faster because they already set everything up. However, they do try to approve everything at the last second in order to avoid major desync, which can definitely botch, especially the start of one of these races. It's a well-known issue in these racing sim games. And one I wish they would fix, because that is something you would not get in Mario Kart. That game definitely has its own set of issues, but that is not one of them. Now, the formation lap this time will be a bit slower because people do still have to get in the correct order from qualifying. And Keza is off. Go on board with Bullets in, because that will be one of the final cars to get a move on. Actually, some fun fact commentator news is your previous commentator Nismo was actually considering showing up tonight for the race, but something came up quite late, so he was not able to attend. So I won't be clowning on Nismo tonight, because that would be unfair if he's not here. Very different engine noises from the Aston and the Roddy. Final few positions now, getting in order. Wonder who's waiting for what here. Is Bernd AFK? Have we just lost another driver again? We're down to 13 already. Something is not right. However, they do continue on. It's Eddie! Oh, we've lost Eddie again. That is very, very unfortunate. Just saw the notification pop up on Steam, so that may well have been an internet issue. We've just lost Bernd now as well. Exus not getting up off the grid. And that is another restart. Oh, a bit of a party going on in the gravel here. Mammoth enjoying his brief stint in the lead as we get to another race restart. Oh, Ricky this time, the #1 driver. Hopefully the next race can actually get underway. Good thing I got myself a fresh glass of water. That's an extra reminder to you all as well at home to make sure you do hydrate properly. I wouldn't want anyone to die of dehydration while watching this race, if it ever actually becomes a race. Because the chance of this this restart happening again, it's slim, but it's not zero. This game is a shambles, Tokugawa. I could not agree more. Now, I wouldn't quite go so far as to put Project Motor Racing over AMS2, but I can feel the sentiment for sure. Eddie, I think, has rejoined. Yes, he is back in here. Looks like someone might have, some people might have left in panic or thinking that a new lobby would be set up, but I think we're continuing with this one. Pyongyang Racer is better than AMS2. Oh, that is some that right there is some elite racing game knowledge. I have to agree with you. Pyongyang Racer is it's in the top 3 of best racing games of all time, along with the likes of F1 Race Stars and Wild Animal Racing. It's just peak. They're never going to release another game like that again. Although, if we're sitting here waiting for enough time, who knows, one of the drivers here might decide to develop a game like that themselves. Bernd has rejoined. I don't feel like counting everyone, but I think we're probably at capacity again. Oh, it says 15 out of 26. Okay, I think we do have everyone. You can get another overview of the rules here as well. Track limit warnings up to 5. Go over that and you will get quite a nasty penalty. You can go up to 240 k's an hour in the pit lane though, which is remarkable. Tire wear is accelerated ×3, fuel usage ×2, so you will be seeing pit stops for those reasons. Default setup's not enforced. Anyone is free to mess with their car as they please, but we do have BOP in this series, so the overpowered cars are outlawed from being driven by the fastest drivers. One thing that is something to be happy about is the fact that we are using the no chicane layout. I think 99.9% of the global population would agree that that is the superior layout. And it is in fact also the layout used on the circuit logo. So there you have it. Once again, 14 drivers on the grid. Once again, a 2-minute countdown to get the setups and pit strategies selected correctly. After that, a second attempt at a formation lap. Will we manage to get through it this time? First time seemed to be a desync or lag issue with the server host. Second time seemed to be an issue with a driver getting disconnected. This time, let's pray that there is no issue. Two teammate Astons there in the back. The game wants to make their race extra difficult, but we will get back into correct positions on the formation lap. So that has nothing to worry about. If not, though, I mean, Exus in P3 is going to be pretty stoked about that. It's impossible with our tech to display the correct speed limit in the lobby. Cannot do it. Maybe in 2027. Who knows? Falcon livery really works on everything. Falcon livery, is that... Which driver is running that one, Andrew? I'm not quite sure which what the names are for all these liveries. The Lambo, okay, yeah, that is quite a good livery, and again on this track it gives you camouflage on the exit of turn 3 as well, so it gives you that advantage. As they are now underway for the formation lap. Fingers crossed. And everyone is now underway. I think Bullet's glad that it's not a standing start, because that was a very, very slow departure from the grid. Let's take another look at all the different dashboards of these cars. There's the ever popular Corvette dash. The Viper dash maybe looking slightly more modern and bare bones. Lambo dash, not a whole lot going on here, must be said. That's another Corvette. This is an Aston dash, I believe. Yes, that is an Aston dash. Seems like you kind of need to look down to see what's really going on here, but cannot do that with my current controls. Maserati dash is pretty interesting as well, kind of reminiscent of what I saw in Project Cars 1. Very different engine noises as well, as you can clearly hear. Hopefully no one's going to have an embarrassing spin on the formation lap, because we have seen that happen before. Now, some drivers to look out for in tonight's race. We have Xevious down in 13th place, only one driver behind him. Will he finish the race that way? I do not think so. Was one of the contenders for a podium position in last week's event. Cuckoo kind of missing out on some good results. Currently in 11th place as well. We've definitely seen them get some good ones in the past, so we'll have to wait and see how many positions are gained there. P7/P8 Merchant Andrew in the middle of the pack. If anything happens in front, he's sure to gain some as well. And Matt's right next to him. A regular race winner here. Often the driver to beat. In the middle of the vortex, as some people say. He has his work cut out for him. His teammate Keza leading us on the first lap. They're all lined up perfectly now. Getting quite close, and it's go. Keza starting the race. An immediate hit against Ricky there by Gillish. Very aggressive as per usual. Will we have any 3 wide action into the first corner? In second place, it's 2 wide. Currently still the 2 teammates taking the outside line. Eddie, I think, completely flying off the track and misjudging it entirely, so that's going to cost him massively. Now spinning out as well. Well, barely able to save it, but that's put him in last place immediately. Now Ricky's managed to regain second position. Gillish seemingly struggling there in the longer corner, and that's now Matt's down his inside, and this camera is still busted. I can't believe they haven't fixed that after years of being a thing, but Matt's now up into third, so he's gained massively at the start from P6 or 7 to 3. Keza with a very comfortable start. Side by side here now between Andrew and Mammoth. Mammoth having the inside line. Do they keep it side by side here? It's not very easy to do, and they do. Andrew coming out on top of that little battle, but it's not quite over yet. Up the hill, down the straight, looking into the next hairpin. Different lines being chosen, but it's harder to send it down the inside of this corner than it used to, and there's a car off the track. That is Xevious, so he must have gained quite a bit at the start too, but has lost to some extra positions again. Bullet Sane chasing down Baron 412. And finishing the first lap in first place is Ultimate Keza. It's Aston Martin 1, 2, 3 as things stand. Keza's teammate looking to make it a team 1-2. Tailgating Ricky down into turn 1, taking the other line, but thinking better of it at the very end of the straight. A little bit further behind, you have Mammoth still chasing down Andrew for 5th position. Gillish, seemingly very eager at the start, is now struggling quite a bit, having to defend from Andrew now, his 4th position. Not putting any pressure on Mats for the place up ahead. Now Andrew getting dive bombed by Mammoth. Ooh, was that an incident up ahead? No, that was behind. This camera work is so confusing. I think, yeah, JD's flown off the track. Not that we could actually see anything, but that is very, very unfortunate. Mats continues to chase down Ricky in second place. Keza not quite driving away, so potentially looking to help his teammate out here at some point. Maybe just doesn't have the pace to pull away. Mammoth, though, ahead of Andrew now in 5th, putting pressure on Gillis. Gillish in the fastest Maserati as things currently stand. Taking a defensive line into Sector 3. Ooh, a lot of drifting with the rears there. Can Mammoth get a switchback going into the final few corners? Mammoth hugging the racing line. No way for Mammoth to get through at the moment, but the straight is coming up very soon. And he's already got a better exit, and Matt's just up ahead is off into the barrier. So that's Matt's losing a bunch of positions, undoubtedly with a lot of damage on that car now as well, dropping multiple positions. Gillish still able to hold on to what is now 3rd place, so despite his struggles, doing quite well. Now Andrew sending it down the inside of Mammoth again. They're juggling these positions like it's nobody's business. Gillish is going to be loving this as well, because the more they fight behind him, the less he has to waste time defending. And, that's a lot of pressure off of Ricky's shoulders now as well. In second place, has plenty of time to try and catch up to Keza. Mammoth once again ahead of Andrew. It's one corner, one is leading, the other corner, another is leading. But you can just see how much Gillish is struggling. Makes you wonder if he might be on a different strategy. We've seen him pull that kind of strategy before, where he does a pit stop less than everyone else. Artificially slowing down his pace, as you see in a lot of F1 races. A little further behind, we have side-by-side action between Exus and Xevious. Exus taking the outside line here, definitely to his disadvantage. can't quite keep it side by side here. Has to slot in behind Xavius. Eddie's recovered up to 12th in the meantime. JD and Bullet now behind him. So Matt's now coming in for a very early pit stop on lap. Well, it's about to be lap 5 of 37, but I hope that doesn't add a pit stop to his time because that would be detrimental. Ricky starting to reel in Keza ever so slightly. Gilish holds on for another lap in 3rd. Let's just go on board here with Andrew, our 5th place driver, with a really good view of the fight for the final podium position. And Gilish has gone a little bit deep. I'm not sure if there was any contact there. We can see the front end on the Aston, very twitchy mid-corner as well. Ooh, there was definitely some contact there this time, and Andrew there slithering down the inside, looking to get double overtake, but does not have the straight line speed to make it stick. Does overtake Mammoth though. Andrew up into 4th. This is a really, really good battle that I'm sure Varlorkel would love to be a part of, just behind by a couple tenths. The gap between the 2 leaders not changing much. Andrew and Mammoth changing lines at the same time, but now Mammoth sending it down the inside. A brave move, and it's not paid off. He spun around. Luckily, though, it spins off track, and now that is actually quite interesting. We have Xavius and Exus side by side again, in exactly the same corner as last lap. That is pretty much identical pace right there, but this time Exus does come out on top. So I think he's starting to get the hang of this Lamborghini. Let's see which car is better on the straight. Ooh, it looks like I think Xavius unintentionally doing a bit of bump drafting there, but now easily overtaking the Lambo into turn 1. Lambo a bit more aggressive on the brakes. Can Exus hold it around the outside? No, he can't. Has to slot into 8th. A little bit further up ahead. We still have Andrew chasing down Gilish. Varlorkel right behind him, but not putting on all that much pressure. Bernd now behind Eddie. I think Eddie's just overtaken him. He's up into 9th now after dropping to last place earlier. It's not JD, that's Mammoth looking to re-overtake Bernd as well, but he's had a massive tank slapper on the exit, somehow still stays ahead. A little further in the distance, you can see Xavius still ahead of Exus now. Let's go check on the top 5. You can see the Maserati on the very edge of grip there. It's going to take a mistake from the 2 ahead for Varlorkel to make a lot of progress, I think. And Andrew not quite putting on as much pressure as he was when Mammoth was pushing him, so that is quite interesting indeed. Further back, we have Exus now behind Xavius this time coming out of the final corner. But it just looks like that Lambo does not have the straight line speed to compete. Even falling back slightly in the slipstream. The 2 X's continue their fight for P7 once more. Action in turn 1. It's a 3-car battle. Bernd, Eddie, and Mammoth. Bernd's still ahead of the 2 for now, but probably not for long as Eddie tries to go around the outside of Mammoth. On the outside of the lengthy turn 3, not easy to do. He's lost the position into the next corner. Mammoth sending it down the inside of Bernd. I don't think Bernd saw that one coming. Now Bernd has the inside for the hairpin, but he's braked a little earlier compared to Eddie. Side by side on exit, using all the space he can. Eddie, though, comes out on top around the outside. A good move from Eddie. It's going to be interesting when that little group manages to catch up to Exus and Xavius, because these 2 have been fighting non-stop for quite some time. Eddie, though, not quite out of the woods just yet. Bernd not giving up on 10th. JD not too far off as well. Bullet Sand, though, I think something must have happened to him because he is way off at the moment. As is Matt, but we have seen Matt's do a pit stop. I believe he is the only driver to have pitted so far due to damage. Ricky still holding on to Keza, but that gap has doubled now. It's 1.7 seconds between the leader and second place. Andrew still not making any progress on Gillish. Potentially doing some fuel saving, who knows. Varlorkel doing quite well in 5th position in his first rookie drive at MSR. Cuckoo managing to recover from a horrible qualifying up into P6 now. A podium looming just 2 seconds up ahead. Exus and Xevious, an inseparable duo now on lap 8 of this race. They are slowly getting caught by Mammoth and Eddie. Let's take a look at those lap times. Latest laps were high 41, low 42. The drivers behind. Oh, wait, have I just missed an overtaking? Ooh, hold on. I think Cuckoo had almost sent it on Varlorkel. And is now sending it in the next corner. That is some tremendous traction from Cuckoo, giving them the outside line for the next one, but that is practically impossible now. Looking for a switchback if Varlorkel doesn't have the exit speed, but he does. The Viper is indeed a beauty. We're currently on board with the Corvette. Oh, hold on. Something's happened to Ricky. Ricky now 7.4 seconds behind the leader, so that's about the amount of time you lose from a single spin. But the gap that he pulled out was already so big that he's managed to hold position. So lucky to get away with that. I see no damage on that car as well, but that is giving Keza a free win, provided he does not make any mistakes. Exus and Xevious once again switching out positions. Ooh, a wonderful switchback attempt here from Xevious, but just couldn't pull it off on the curb. Exus coming out on top on this occasion. Quite a bit of understeer there, turning into oversteer on exit. Just a little further behind, we have Bernd still quite close to Eddie, it must be said, really not giving up on that 10th position. Perhaps Eddie having taken out a bit more of the tires than he would have hoped. You can see he's going deep in certain corners where you really don't want to be going deep. Mammoth, though, making some progress, getting ever closer to the Exus Xevious fight. Exus still leads that one. Meanwhile, Cuckoo now extra close up the rear of Varlorkel. And Gillish, I'm sure, very enthusiastic about trying to get past Ricky. Not going to have many opportunities if the pace is what it was earlier. And Andrew's definitely not pushing Gillish anymore, so this is Andrew's P4 to defend now. Varlorkel putting on pressure in turn 3. Can Cuckoo send it? We go into Sector 2, one of the slowest corners on the track. Good exit by Andrew and Varlorkel, not quite the same for Cuckoo. Car in the distance there. Still Gillish in third. 2 seconds behind Ricky. The battle behind still quite exciting as well between the two X's. Exus still leading Xevious for 7th. Mammoth increasingly getting closer. And Eddie watching in the distance. We are now on lap 10 of 37. Not quite halfway just yet. They navigate the final corner once more. Varlocal putting a bit more pressure on Andrew this time. Go on board with the Corvette. Chasing down the Corvette-looking Viper. Very controlled lines there from Varlocal. I think Andrew a bit more on the edge of his grip. Still getting a good exit out of 3 nonetheless. Both drivers not quite pushing it too hard on the brakes. Ooh, is that Andrew going a little wide? Nope, just kept that under control, but I think just behind, we now do have a lot of pressure from Mammoth on Exevious. Will he just fly by these two, or will he make this a permanent 3-car fight? That is something I'm very much looking forward to finding out. Lambo versus Dodge versus Aston. 3 different brands, 3 different drivers. Who comes out on top? And it's not going to be Exevious. He spun out in one of the fastest corners on the track. Barely manages to avoid the barrier. I think he'll be very grateful for the obscene amount of gravel in that corner. But that is now sending him into no man's land at the rear. Only drivers behind him now are Mats and Bullets, and that is very unfortunate for Exevious. Once again, not quite capitalizing on what was a fairly good opportunity. The fight for P4 remains unchanged. Mammoth now the sole driver putting pressure on Exus. And that's now Exus going deep as well. Giving the inside of 2 to Mammoth. I think Mammoth just overtaking through sheer intimidating aura. His mere presence pressuring his opponents into a mistake. No aggressive moves needed. Mammoth up into 7th. Eddie looking to join this battle soon, though I think Mammoth will just be driving off into the distance at this point. It's going to be between Eddie and Nexus for 8th position. Meanwhile, the fight for P4 continues. Gillish slowly losing ground to Ricky. And this could well end up turning into a 4-car battle. Gillish, Andrew, Varlorkel, and Kaku. As we go on board with the P6 driver, and that's Ricky spinning out once again. In a slow corner too. That's massively unfortunate for Ricky. Once again, had an opportunity to win the race, but consistency is costing him. Still not out of a shot for P2 though, and this could well turn into a 5-car battle if Ricky can keep those tires in check. Gillish now the one leading that pack. Gap to Keza up in front, 14 seconds. Means Keza's been pulling away by about a second per lap. Incredible pace. Actually, let's quickly compare his lap times to those of his teammate Mats down in 13th. Still, I think the only driver to have done a pit stop. And Bulletsan actually has a penalty. Anyway. Mats' last lap of 140.9. Keza's half a second faster than that, but there are no other drivers in the 140s, including Mats, as his last lap is now a 141.1. So Mats having good pace, but not race-winning pace. Would have been interesting to see what he could have contributed to this P2 fight, if he was still there. Gillish once again feeling the pressure, going for a defensive line. Into the slow 3rd sector corners, but he's had a massive twitch. And a second one. Andrew smells blood. And potentially sees it too, because that is a very red car. Once again, going on board with Kaku. Now in 5th. Yellow flag in the final sector. We've lost access to the barrier. No, that car still seems to be fine. I think Exus maybe just feeling a little bit bad there that Xevious was the only one flying off the track in that area. Joining him in sympathy, but not losing as much time. Into the first few corners now. Gillish continues to lead Andrew from Vorlorkel, from Kaku. Escher saying his pace was not so bad after all. Yeah, no, that definitely seems to be the case. I think some moderately decent pace here would still put you in the fight for P2, because these guys are not making it easy for each other. We are still yet to see the pit strategies though, so this whole 4-car fight could still end up exploding into a no-car fight like it did last week. The strategy is very unpredictable in AMS2. You can see now this lap the pressure is more on Andrew than it is on Gillish. Vorlorkel in his rookie debut. Having a look down the inside of Andrew, and he's absolutely sending it, claiming that inside space, leaving enough on the outside, but really forcing Andrew to use it. Does Kaku now smell blood, trying to have a look around the outside, but that pretty much never works there, so looking for a switchback. Will Andrew get revenge on the main straight? All drivers getting a clean exit there. As there's another yellow flag, that's Xevious off the track again. Seemingly, once again, no damage though. I think the tire is just really starting to cook on some of these cars. Very unfortunate for Xevious. It's his 2nd spin so far. No overtakes into turn 1. Barrett and JD starting to shape up into a bit of a fight for P10 in the background. A bit unfortunate that we were robbed of an Exus Eddie fight. But Andrew now defensive against Kaku now into the hairpin. Kaku really struggling with that exit. Oh, but Andrew's gone way too deep into the next one, uphill. Kaku's got a better run, but it's impossible to overtake into this one without crashing. Very unfortunate that there's just not quite an opportunity there for Kaku. Been staring at the back of this pack for the past 10 laps. And you can see just up ahead as well, Vorlorkel currently in the top 3 positions now. Again, debut race, putting pressure on one of the most experienced drivers on the grid. Gillish in 2nd. Gap to the leader now, 16 seconds, Casey continues to pull away. Ooh, I think something happening around the edge of the top 10. JD and Barrett now closing in on Exus. I wonder if he's had some sort of spin this lap. Will have to be reflected by his lap time at the end of the lap, I think. Remarkable as well as after Ricky's last spin, he has actually not gotten any closer to this group of cars. He's actually dropped off a bit. So I think he might have killed his tires with that last spin. He's had 2 of them so far. JD, ooh, spins out at the final corner. Face in the barrier, but I'm not sure if there was any contact. The car seems to be okay. That does mean now that Barrett has hunting season rights on Exus. Andrew still under fire from Kaku as well. Wait, stream title still says Monza. I swear I adjusted that. That is annoying, but now we do have Kaku sending it down the inside of Andrew in a very unorthodox corner, so great move by Kaku. I was not expecting that. Go on board with Andrew. I do wonder when we'll start to see people pitting. I think they're trying to go for a one-stop. That may well explain why a lot of drivers are struggling now. They're trying to eke out every little bit of these tires that they can. Mammoth now putting pressure on Ricky as well. So Mammoth has managed to catch up to him. See very different lines in the penultimate corner. None of them entering the pits at the moment. Just checking Exodus's lap time now. That last one, no, nothing too special. Andrew not able to retake P4. Mammoth, though, has been left space by Ricky on the inside. That's good for a switchback. Into turn 3 now, the lengthy one. Can he make it stick around the outside? These tires are just not taking it anymore. You can just hear how careful he's being on the throttle as well as Mammoth. A rear end of Ricky's car sliding all over the shop. Quickly checking in on the upper drivers here. It's Gillish still holding his own against Four Local, and Andrew now dropping off of Cuckoo. So I think Andrew's only going to be rejoining this fight once Cuckoo catches up to Var. Escher thinking medium is going to be the strategy for this race. I do think people will be changing tires. If they keep the same set of tires for all 37 laps, I think they will be very depressed by the end of it. Meanwhile, Gillish, the first driver into the pits for a scheduled stop, being followed in by Cuckoo. That gives me a chance to try and change my stream title, which should have been changed. It's not race 1, this is preseason race 2. There we go. Beautiful. Exus now following in the pits as well. Race leader still out on track. Now Varlorkel is out in clean air. Same for Andrew. We'll see what they can do, though I think with the undercut they probably will be losing time on those older tires. Ricky and Mammoth continue their fight. Mammoth having the outside line. They're about to lap Bullets and slams on the brakes, lets them through. Ricky really getting involved in fights that I think are really costing him a lot of time, and he's drifting all over the place again. Those tires, I think, post-mortem at this point. But he's not giving up. Racing for the love of the game rather than for strategy. But Mammoth has taken fourth. Though goes a bit wide on exit. Can Ricky retake that position? Has the inside line now fully ahead. Into the next corner, though. Holds on to the outside. Neck and neck, the two Astons. Just a couple corners to go. Will any of them pit? Side by side again. Lots of space being left. You'll love to see it. And they keep on going. I have to wonder what kind of strategy these guys are on, because I think it's costing them. Andrew now into the pits. It'll be interesting to see where Andrew comes out compared to Cuckoo. Cuckoo down in 12th after their pit stop. Bernd now pitting as well. I think a little over half the grid now having done their first pit stop. Potentially their only one. But Ricky earlier was fighting for that second position, even for first, but prior to that last spin, was fighting for second, now is 11 seconds behind Varlorkel. So that is going to be a very, very tough gap to close in the next stint. It's not impossible, but it is unlikely. Andrew, meanwhile, coming out now. Cuckoo has gained a lot of time. Time that Andrew will have to scramble to make up. One thing that must be said as well, we have lost no drivers since the start of the race, so we still have everyone here. It's very, very nice. Kay is the race leader now coming into the pits. I think Mats will be coming in soon as well from 7th. His first pit stop was way too early for damage repair. Varlorkel now coming in as well. And oh! Ricky and Mammoth pitting at the same time. I think there might have been some slight contact with the wall. It's going to be very interesting to see which one of these has the faster stop. JD now the leading car on track. Ooh, but that sounds like he might be saving fuel. Yeah, going very, very slowly into the pits. So Mats coming in as well on the same lap as the rest of them. Probably means he did not put in any fuel when he pitted for damage earlier. Ultimate K's are now leaving the pits. Xevious coming in as well. Everyone's fuel tanks reaching their limit. Cuckoo has gained some ground on Gilish Hammond. This should be the net P2 and 3 of this race. But look at that. Eddie is coming out of the pits in 2nd. Followed by Varlorkel. But Varlorkel not able to hold on to those 2 places. Cuckoo sending it around the outside of turn 1. Both quite safe on the brakes. Cuckoo not able to get a move done. But now Gilish and Eddie, two teammates in 2nd and 3rd. That is something I was not expecting. I have to wonder how Eddie managed to get such a fast pit stop. Of course, Eddie, at the start of the race, spun out. Went a little bit too hot into turn 1. And has spent the rest of his race clawing back that gap. Now side by side with his teammate, losing 2 positions. Wonder if Eddie just actually decided to stay on the same set of tires, which would give him a faster pit stop, but his car is going to be very slow for the next 17 laps. Cuckoo's managed to stick another wheel into that same corner. Nobody else able to overtake there but Cuckoo. Can they make it stick? Gilish still has that inside line, and he's not going to leave it unutilized. Very, very twitchy driving from Cuckoo, but good car control. Holding on to drive another day. Good defense. We've seen that plenty of times from Cuckoo. The gap to the leader now 20 seconds. Continuing that average of pulling a 1 second gap per lap. And Gilish fight back into turn 1. Slipstream here has not been the most effective, it seems, but it's giving him a chance. He's sending it on the brakes, has the inside line. Cuckoo's just giving it to him. And Gilish does retake that space. Ooh, Eddie's off the track. I have to think that his tires are just really, really bad right now. Varlorkel is going to be passing him very soon. Andrew still multiple seconds behind. Varlorkel, though, going for the move. Sending it on Eddie. Eddie not really giving that position away for free entirely. Cuckoo keeping the pressure on Gilish as well into the 2nd sector. You can definitely tell that they've both got much fresher tires than before, but once again Cuckoo has the better exit and sticks the nose in. No, pulls out at the last second, but Gilish just oversent it, which could give Cuckoo a whole car's length ahead to cut them off into the next one, but Cuckoo holds the outside line. Gilish not quite insane enough to send that kind of a dive bomb on this occasion, as I think Eddie might have made a mistake because he's now lost a position to Mammoth. Eddie dropping like a stone, was P2 just moments ago, now down into 7th. Oh, and Cuckoo almost getting rear-ended in the final corner. Both cars drifting there. Andrew gaining good ground on Varlorkel. Have to wait and see if this turns into a 4-car fight once more, as Ricky looks to make Eddie his next victim. Into the braking zone of turn 1. Ricky has a look, but doesn't send it. Meanwhile, Cuckoo still marginally ahead. But, well, Ricky has now apparently sent it into turn 2, which is not a common move. I apologize for missing that one. Was not expecting that to happen there. But Eddie, all he can do is just watch as half the grid makes mincemeat out of him. Makes you wonder if he actually chose not to get new tires, or if the game is just messing with him, or if it's a bit of both. Bit of a race rundown for the positions now. We're on lap 22 of 37. Keza leading this race by a 22-second gap. In second place, we have Cuckoo, qualified outside the top 10. Currently is fighting for an actual P2 position here. An immense turnaround of events. Only 15 laps left to defend that one. Gillish started around about where he is. He's been hanging out in the top positions all race. It's not been a lonely one for him. Varlorkel on his debut, gaining positions as well, now in 4th, followed by Andrew in 5th. Ricky, after a couple of spins, still down in 7th. Although I quickly check those lap times, see if he's gaining on people. He's setting mid-40s, which is faster than Andrew. Actually, yeah, he is gaining on people ahead, though Mammoth is still faster. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Eddie is, oh, hold on. Something's happened here, and it's Gillish. He's off. Gillish was fighting Cuckoo for 2nd place. Not sure if they had contact. Let's check Cuckoo's car, if the game will let us see this car. And that car still seems to be pristine, if you ignore all the paint scratches, but that is part of the livery, not the damage model. So Cuckoo continues on now, unpressured in 2nd place. Gillish behind, well, just ahead of his teammate, actually. So I'm sure Eddie's going to be wondering what on earth happened there. As I was saying for the race rundown, Cuckoo in 2nd place. Varlorkel on his debut now, once again in the podium positions. Andrew looking to spoil his day in 4th, 2 seconds behind. Mammoth chasing them down at a vast rate of knots in 5th, followed by Ricky doing the same. Gillish, I think, just looking to bring it home at this point. In 7th, followed by Eddie with fossilized tires. Bernd currently in 9th place, followed by Exus, still ahead of Mats, who's had to do an extra pit stop. JD in 12th, currently still ahead of Xevious, who's had a bit of a torrid evening. And Bullet Sand managing to continue on, but with a car that looks like it's seen better days. Oh, that's a very wide line too. Oh. Yeah, it's never pleasant when the car is on edge like that, and it's quite interesting as well, especially as someone who struggled in some cars in AMS2 before. If your car feels awfully unstable, it's often going to be slow as well. It's quite interesting how that works. You get the worst of both worlds. But Cuckoo, Keza, Varlorkel, Andrew, they're all keeping their cars under control. As we're entering the final third of this race. No major battles going on at the moment. Tires and spins claiming quite a few victims tonight. Okay, I think we might have a disconnect. I see 2 cars moving on the minimap, 1 car moving on the minimap, and that is my fellow Belgian. Could we both be disconnecting at the same time? Or is everyone but me and Vorlorkel disconnecting? This is quite awkward indeed. I've lost Vorlorkel now as well. I might be getting thrown out of the lobby. Stream seems to still be fine. That car is moving, though. What in the world is happening here? No, it's just an illusion of movement. They're definitely all stuck. Looks like I'll have to leave and rejoin the session. Oh, my Steam is down. That's wonderful. Well, can't do much other than wait for that to get fixed, I suppose. Aha, it's back online again. Alright. If I was actually racing, I would be really pissed off. Just gotta quickly find the password again. Hello, Keza. Yes, it seems like Steam had an issue on my end. I'm about to come back in.
No. Like, yeah, I mean, you can, but a lot of drivers got disconnected.
Ah.
So that's yeah, Steam for you right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we can be happy it happened during preseason, but yeah, still sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, of course, we still had about a third of the race left to go. As you said, I'm glad it happened in preseason, and I'm glad it happened where it happened in the race too, because throughout the race we've had multiple ongoing battles, and the disconnect happened actually when there were no more live battles on track, so that's interesting timing. So are we looking at a restart, or what's happening?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we already got delayed so much because of the things, because of the issues earlier, which I, in hindsight, kind of think it was also Steam related, to be honest, because so many people had other people lagging in different places. But yeah. Okay, I just wanted to check in on you and let you know what's going on.
Yeah, it was quite interesting because everyone stopped moving for me except for the new Belgian driver. He was still with me for like another half a lap, and then he stopped moving as well before I got disconnected. So that was quite interesting. Are we gonna get any people in for post-race interviews?
Yeah, I'm about to check that out. To be honest.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Meanwhile, last time we were staring at a whole lot of nothing, so I'll actually be sure to put on a race replay for people to watch in the meantime. It's not actually related to the league, but should at least give you something to look at. For those just joining, we are waiting for the post-race interviews to kick off. The race was unfortunately interrupted by a Steam issue after about 2/3 of the progress in the race being made, and we will not be finishing that event. Of course, no points on offer, so no actual consequences for the season, but it is unfortunate to end the race prematurely. Thanks, Escher, for joining. It's been a pleasure having you. How do I get rid of this menu? Oh, there we go. Alright, let's see. Do we have anyone in the ready for interview? Not quite yet. Just let me select a different driver here for this replay. Actually, no, I'll keep it. I'll keep it here. Still waiting for the first drivers to come in for the post-race interviews. If you're wondering what's on screen, it's currently an old replay.
Can you try and connect to the race again? There's still people driving.
Wait, there's people driving in the race?
Yeah, there's still like 7 people. I mean, I said we were gonna do post-race interviews over the rest of the drivers that are still in the garage running in the background.
Okay, hold
yeah,
on.
it's a weird situation and still very messy, but
Yeah.
I think Xavier is still in there. I don't know. Yeah. But I have a rookie in the ready for individual waiting to introduce himself. So once you are connected again, we could get him in and listen to who the new driver actually is.
Yes. Quickly just double checking the password again. There we go.
I'm gonna leak it on stream anyway, but whatever.
Invalid password. What?
You missed an N there.
An N?
Yeah, Salmon Moniero.
Oh, well, I'm using the password that you gave me in the stewards chat. There was no N in that.
Wait. I mean, there is... Oh, Solmoreo. Reo. Not Yero, Reo.
Oh, I might be developing dyslexia at this point. There we go. Alright, let's get some final few laps of on-track action.
Right. I would put our new... And actually, I think it's pronounced Warlord. We can just...
Warlord? What?
Yeah, it's a weird way to write it, but if you look... Like, squint your eyes, you can sort of read it. Anyway, I'm gonna put him in, and you can shoot some questions, and I'm just gonna join in, yeah?
Alright.
Yeah.
Welcome, Warlord.
Hi, howdy.
Nice to meet you. We still have about 8 laps left of this very strange interrupted race where Xevious is somehow leading. Tell us about your first experience over here at MSR. You had a quite strong performance tonight.
Hey, yeah, thanks. Yeah, wait, can you give me a minute? My push button is weird.
Absolutely.
That's all right.
You don't need to use push to talk here, so you can just disable it if you want.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, that should be better. Yeah, I had a great race until the disconnect happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Qualifying wise, I feel like I'm still lacking a lot of pace, but race wise, I was had a good race. I think I was in full control of my car. Tire wear was good. The fuel was good, so I should have been able to finish easily.
Yeah, and it could have been a podium in the end if not for those disconnects. Now, you fought with multiple drivers for almost the entire race. Which one would you say seemed to be the most aggressive out of them?
The thing was, I was mostly attacking, so I think I was the more aggressive one. There was one guy behind me that had a look at some point, but I was able to keep the inside, so if I had to guess, he was the most aggressive, since the other ones I was more on the attacking side.
Yeah, and how much prep did you put into your very first MSR race?
I started prepping on Saturday evening. Did like 1 hour to an hour and a half, and yesterday then another like 30 to 40 minutes, and today another like 40 minutes.
Wait, that is I think definitely more than the average driver. So no wonder that you had such good pace. How many different sims have you played before AMS2?
I played a little bit of Assetto Corsa, a little bit of iRacing, a little bit of Le Mans Ultimate, but in the end, I do like AMS2 a bit more, especially force feedback wise. I think the car is really easy to understand for me.
Interesting. So I'm guessing your input method is on a wheel, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, because this game is a bit weird on the controller side for sure. But now for
You would have really made Martin stay if you would have said you are on a controller. He really wants another controller driver in the league.
all the other controller drivers have betrayed me and switched to wheel.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have not tried the game on a controller. Maybe I should do that for fun and see what happens. But it's going to be disaster.
It's quite tough, but some people like Eddie are able to do it and actually be competitive. So hats off to him. But he's unfortunately no longer in this 6-horse race. We're now on lap 30 of 37, or at least for Bernd. I think it's lap 31 for the leader, which is now Cuckoo for some reason. I think these positions are just switching randomly at this point.
Yeah,
but
could be buggy now at this point. Yeah.
I do want to ask you, Warlord, if that is your real name.
Yeah, that's correct. That's it's a bit funny. I know.
I recognize your profile picture from the Suska and Wiska strip that we have here in Flanders. Do you still read that?
I used to read them when I was a little kid, but not anymore. Yeah, I just think it was a funny picture.
No, I'll have to say that is one of my favorite characters from that series. So glad to see him back. But what are your expectations for this season? Of course, points only on offer starting next week.
If I can keep the same performance as I did today, I will be very happy. Qualifying, I said, can be a bit better. Lacking pace there, but if I can keep it clean in the race and pick up positions, should be more than happy for me.
And have you done all the tracks that are on this season's calendar? Because some of them are somewhat obscure Brazilian tracks.
Oh, I have to check the calendar actually. But I have done quite a lot of Brazilian tracks in AMS2, so I wouldn't be surprised to have it at most of them.
Yeah, well, I can read it for you. The first one is Jacarepaguá, followed by Hockenheim, Virginia, Spa, Silverstone, Fontana RC, and Kyalami, the season finale. So 2 of those Brazilian.
1.
Is Fontana not Brazilian?
No, Fontana is American.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I did most of them. Maybe one I did, the second to last I don't really recognize.
Is there any track you're looking forward to the most? And have you checked all the weather yet for the race?
No, I have not checked the weather. We're gonna get some rain?
We're gonna get some rain, absolutely.
Yeah. Curious how that will run.
So we're gonna have a full wet race in Hockenheim, and we're gonna have changing conditions for Kyalami.
This man has a crystal ball when it comes to the weather.
I mean, if it's changeable weather, then I'm looking most forward to Kyalami.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting season finale for sure. And the longest round of the season will be in the middle there. That is Spa. Is there any changing weather there?
No, we're gonna have Spa in a full dry for once.
For once.
For once, yeah, and yeah. Other than that, I think you did really well performance-wise.
Thank you.
I think I think you have really good chances on finishing well in the drivers, as well as the team championship, because Bernd is nothing to scoff at as well. What do you think about the as a league organizer? I'm obviously interested. What do you think about the lobby settings, the balance of performance, stuff like that?
Yeah, I like it a lot. Yeah, because the game is a bit wonky with balance of performance. There's certain classes that is very different from one car to another. So yeah, I really like that you try to give the faster cars to the better players or slower players to keep it interesting.
Nice. Do you think the Did you have the same findings that the other cars are somewhat similar in this class, like the Maserati and the Aston? And the...
I have not driven too much of the other cars. I have driven the Corvette at Petit Le Mans, and that was a rocket ship on the straight. That's all I remembered.
Nice.
Now,
All right,
I do have an extra question for you, actually.
Yeah.
What are your strongest cars in this game that you'd like to see in a future league?
Oh no. Oh no. I really like slidey cars. I'm just gonna give a general answer, like the older classes, the older cars. Likes to slide a lot. Low grip tires. Yeah, I really enjoy those.
Now, that is,
I'm not gonna say I'm strong at them, but I just like driving them.
Yeah. So, wait, would you say that you're maybe stronger in certain car classes that you're maybe not enjoying as much?
To be honest, I think every class has their strengths and weaknesses. As long as it's not like GT3 spam, which you can play in every other game, then I'm happy to drive.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a GT3 league last year, so I don't think that will come anytime soon again. Yeah, and that, thank you for joining, and let's hope everything goes smoothly next time around, and we're gonna see you finishing in a good position.
Yeah, thanks for the evening, guys. Very well organized. Had really great fun. Yeah, hope to see you next time.
Absolutely.
thank you
Best
so
of luck
much.
this season.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye.
All
So
right.
that is the end of the only interview for the time being, it seems. Although I do have Kaz here, so I'm going to rob him of his time and ask him how it felt to pull away from the entire field by 1 second per lap.
I mean, really, really nice, to be honest. I spent quite a bit of time on the setup. A really weird setup, that being said. Yeah, like if I can replicate anything close and fight for victories, that would be really, really nice, obviously. Yeah, I have ambitions this league. Let's say it like that.
You want to add it to your ever-growing trophy cabinet, of course, as the most decorated champion in MSR history. Now, I want to ask you about your teammate as well, because, of course, you have the most trophies, but I think Matt's probably has the most poles, and he really struggled tonight. So how would you explain that?
I don't really know, to be honest, because especially also in the practice, he was quite quick. So
hold on. We've got a car off track. Barent off track in the gravel, and that's an overtake for Exus. There is still action going on, fellas.
nice one.
Yeah, you can continue your answer. The action's there.
All right, yeah. I mean, obviously I have ambitions. I think it's been quite a while since I actually fought seriously for victories and championships. So I at least have the ambition to try and go for the constructors or a team championship. If I have any shot at the drivers, I guess we'll see soonish. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that team's championship is definitely going to be hard for anyone to beat, of course, with champions on both sides of the team. Now, of the tracks this season, obviously this has been your strongest performance in the preseason, but do you think that this is also your strongest track on the calendar, or are there others where you're expecting to be even faster at?
I mean, it's really, really hard to say, to be honest. I really look forward to the wet stuff in general. I'm usually good at that. So looking forward to Hockenheim. Virginia, I don't really know. It could be a mixed bag. Also, when it comes to racing, it's amazing to drive, but could be tough to beat other drivers there. Silverstone 2001 is really, really good, and I think Fontana Road Course, for example, is going to have amazing battles. I see the Viper being really, really strong there with all those slow corners and traction zones. So yeah, it's gonna be a mixed bag when it comes to balanced performance as well. I think with different cars being good at different tracks, but yeah, I think if you spend the time, you can fix a lot in these cars with setup. For example, like Kuku said, the default setup felt really good on this track. For the Aston, it was the absolute opposite. It was horrible.
As you mentioned that, and Aston spun out in the final corner, and there's extra contact now. Bernd rear-ending. I think that was Exus up into third. Now JD off the track. Does he have damage? That's very unfortunate. He spun just 2 corners before that. Has gone from P3 down to P6. Was about to be a 4-car fight, but it was not to be. Now we are on the penultimate lap, lap 36. Andrew leading this race after Kuku had a mysterious bonus pit stop. And, well, Xavius now up into third again, so his bad evening has really managed to turn itself into a good one. He could come home with a podium, but it's not over yet. Exus looking to the inside. Bernd, though, still threatening that 4th position as well. I think the action is going to continue on to the flag, but you can, I guess, quickly finish your answer, and then we can keep on watching until the end.
I mean, we can just keep on watching, to be honest, but because I already forgot what I was about to say. Other than, I mean, but I think it proves my point. We have like 3 cars being very, very different, fighting here within like 1 second, not even 2 laps before the end. I mean, you can clearly see Bernd is struggling a bit more maybe than the cars in front. But yeah, I think it works really well. Exus being more towards the back of the grid, usually having a good time here, fighting drivers that are at least upper midfield or better drivers.
I will say what I especially love to see is there was a fight going on between Exus and Xavius for the longest time in the first stint until Xavius spun out, and then Exus spun out later as well. And now they've somehow, through the great disconnect, managed to rejoin each other at the end of the race, and they're going side by side again. Wonderful to see now down the main straight, starting their final lap. The leader is already on the final lap, going through Sector 2 now, but we're going to keep the camera on this action. It's an absolute drag race down to Turn 1. Xavius coming out on top. That Lambo just does not have the straight line speed to compete. And meanwhile, Bernd just behind is getting back in on the action around the outside of Turn 1. Can't quite make it stick.
Oh, well, he's absolutely sending it around the outside there. Yeah, I think I'm a bit delayed, but yeah, like what a really, really nice switchback from Exus out of the last corner. But yeah, just the traction of the Viper that is so good. I mean, the straight's just not long enough for the Lambo to get back there.
Well, I mean, I've seen Exus be in Xavius' slipstream for that entire straight, and he was actually falling behind in the slipstream, so that Lambo is just slow on a straight line. Might be set up related, but either way, Andrews crossed the line in first position. I'm sure he'll be happy after what was a very weird evening, to say the least. Kuku bringing home their first preseason podium of the season. Well, of the preseason, I suppose. It's not actually the season yet. And the fight for third still continues.
Yeah, nice one. Good performance. I think it was funny for the guys, at least, getting some more data. Oh, Bernd going a bit weakly there. Yeah, let's see if X can do something about it.
Xavius has lost the rear end, cuts a bit of the track, keeps the position. I wonder if that was initiated by Exus giving him a small bump.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Through the final 2 corners now, this is the fight for P3, and Bernd has pieced out into, barely not into the barrier, but has definitely lost his opportunity to take P3. That will be going to Xavius, and Exus going across the line right behind. JD, could he gain any positions? No, there was not enough gravel to bring Bernd down to last place.
But yeah, really nice fight towards the end there. I would have hoped more drivers still connected, but nonetheless, it's good that these guys see some action still.
Actually, so I have an extra question for you, Case. I'm seeing the fastest lap now that's of the remaining drivers is a 40.4. I saw you setting 40s as well. Were there any laps in the 30s, or was your fastest lap also in the 40s?
Yeah, I think early on I set a 39.3. I hope I wasn't lying, but roughly, I think something like that.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, also, one thing I really want to point out.
Hold on. Actually, JD did get that position because Bernd has a 10-second penalty.
Oh, I guess that's from the pit stop or something.
The most legit win ever, says Andrew.
Yeah, congrats, Andrew. Yeah, but let me talk about the setup real quick, because I think it's quite interesting. So, for comparison, obviously everybody knows Catalunya is quite a high downforce track usually. with all those twisty corners, slow and fast corners. So, for example, I know that Eddie was on pretty high downforce, I think like 2.5, 2.6 or something like that. But for me in the Aston, adding any rear downforce felt incredibly understeery. So I was actually using 2.0 downforce here. And it was still
2.0?
understeery.
Wow.
Yeah. Really, really weird. I think what really benefited as well is that I went for massively asymmetric camber. So I had a lot of camber on the left and a lot less on the right, with all the left-handers being essentially slow corners. So that helped quite a bit. So yeah, I can just encourage every driver to try extreme setups, because it might just work, especially depending on what car you drive. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these GT1 cars are definitely very, very understeery indeed. I mean, if I was driving that on a controller, I would definitely not be up there with you. I need a much slower car to get rotation in without overheating my tires to the 7th circle of hell. Do we have any additional people ready for an interview, I wonder?
I think they just joined.
We've got Andrew, our race winner, and Cuckoo now as well.
All right, should we get Andrew in?
Yes, please.
All right, come in.
Welcome, Andrew. I quickly want to open up with a question from Mammoth, which I'm not sure if that's for Keza or for you, Andrew, but you can both answer if you want. Is aero the reason for your ultimate speed?
Yeah, I don't know. I was on 2.3. What about you, Keza?
2.0.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't try that.
In the end, it's 2-3 that won the race, so Andrew, your strategy did end up being better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, my strategy of my fucking internet not dropping. Yeah,
yeah, so how much did you pay the opposition to DDoS the rest of the grid?
I didn't need to. I just knew the German internet was going to fail.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, I guess it was Frankfurt servers or something.
Now,
yeah, there was a terrorist attack on the Steam Frankfurt server.
Regardless of the terrorist attacks, you had a very eventful evening, Andrew. Who did you enjoy battling with the most?
Probably the new guy. He was good. He was gonna beat me if he hadn't been snapped halfway through the race.
Yeah, that was definitely unfortunate, but he definitely left in good spirits. We have managed to snag him for an interview, and he's definitely looking forward to the rest of the season too. Says he's going to hopefully be in the same positions in those races as well, so I think, Andrew, you have a potential permanent sparring partner for the rest of the season. How much prep did you put in, though? Because he seemed to have practiced quite a bit.
I did more than usual. I joined with like 50 minutes left in the practice session, so a fair amount. Yeah, I tweaked 2 settings on the setup.
You tweaked 2 settings. Can we...
No, 3.
Are you going to share that knowledge with us, or is that confidential?
It was the rear wing and the diff power and coast.
Those are all very fancy scientific words that I'm sure mean a lot to certain people, but... No, I'm definitely glad that it worked out, though, because we saw a lot of people spinning. I think the tires seem to be one of the main reasons for that, but whatever you did to the car managed to keep it quite stable, indeed.
I did a 360.
Wait, when did you do that?
I don't know, like 7 laps to go or something.
Oh, right, that was after the grid disconnect.
Yeah, I only lost like 2 seconds, so it didn't matter much.
I'll save this next question for when we get Cuckoo in here, but... considering that you've now started the preseason on such a strong foot, are you expecting more than 2 podiums the rest of the season?
I hope so. I feel like my pace was quite good today. We didn't have the other Viper. I only had Exevius as a benchmark. I didn't have Fennec and Trouble, so I don't know if the Viper was strong here. I felt like the Viper was quite shit today, to be honest. So.
I mean, it was beating the Lambo in a drag race. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, it's just horrible at high-speed corners, which make up the majority of this circuit. So, yeah, I think he'll do better at other circuits.
Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward. Or actually, don't I guess, but I'm really curious if because I think the Viper is gonna be very, very good on Fontana RC because they have so many slow corners and traction zones, and I think this is where the Viper really excels. It's gonna be quite late in the season, but still, in my mind, it's already the best car there.
Well,
I hope so.
I have one final question for you, Andrew, before we move on to the next interviewee, and that is, would you still be driving in this league if every race was in Monaco?
No.
Obviously, that's a stupid fucking question.
You should feel bad for us. What a waste of my fucking time. Be ashamed, sir.
There
Good
are
night.
ways to make that interesting, mind you. You could have it. He's just left.
Offended. You can't offend the guys like that.
I bet if I asked him a question about beans, he would be significantly less upset. But anyway, let's
Yeah.
go ahead and bring Cuckoo in here.
All right, coming in.
Welcome, Cuckoo, and
Hello.
congrats on that podium. I think it would have been one regardless of what happened there with the mass disconnect. But can you quickly tell me what was that mysterious pit stop towards the end?
Fuel. I didn't manage to save enough.
Interesting. So it was actually, Kiz, were you fuel saving as well, or were you just pushing the whole time?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, because I could see some people were driving slowly, which I assumed that was to save tires, but I guess it was for fuel as well. Everyone going for that one stop. Cuckoo, you had quite a few battles. As per usual, strong defensive skills. However, I did catch one overtake where you left the inside of turn 1 completely undefended. Were you going for a switchback there, or are you just trying to save fuel in that case?
I just didn't defend it, really. Probably silly, but I was quite happy on the outside, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's a fairly safe place to be, even if you get shoved out wide. There is runoff there. Now, qualifying left some things to be desired. Obviously, your race pace was better than that, so what happened in quali?
I don't know. It was just a bit shit, really. I qualified 11th of 14th, and then off the line, I think there was some weird desync or whatever, so someone immediately crashed into the back of me and sent me off onto the grass inside a bit.
Ooh.
So I literally went from last to second in this. Yeah, my race pace was so much better than qualifying, though. Like, before the connection shenanigans happened, I'd actually managed to fight my way up into the pack that was fighting over second on merit. So
Yeah.
that
was
was
very
quite
entertaining to
nice after whatever qualifying was, because I wasn't very confident after qualifying. I thought, okay, we'll just try it.
Well,
See what happens.
the points this season, of course, will be rewarded in the actual race, so that, I think that gives you good hope for the upcoming events. Now, do you expect to be fighting for a podium in the final standings of this season?
I mean, I'd hope to be, but I'm still not entirely sure where I sit with these cars. Like, I'm kind of in a weird sort of void in terms of performance in this, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, because the one race you are up there fighting for podiums, and the other race it's I think it usually starts out with something bad, like well, not qualifying really, but this time you managed to recover from it. So I think a good strong start to the race may well be the key to staying competitive this season.
It's just very weird, because I never really felt overly happy with how the car was handling in this, and then qualifying was just sort of a slap in the face, and then it turns out I actually had quite a lot of pace compared to everyone in the race, and I could just fight my way up through the pack and then slot onto the back of the people fighting over second. So, a bit of a weird one, but I'm not going to complain about having a better race car than a quali car.
And who did you struggle to overtake most? Because you definitely fought multiple people.
I think it was Gillish, to be honest. I think we had a really brilliant series of battles through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think eventually lost it in
He did.
the long sweeping right-hander of 3.
But I was very much impressed with how he managed to hold on to that position for so long, because he was not really pulling many gaps this race. So I'm guessing he was probably also fuel saving. We've seen him do that before to get a pit stop less than everyone else. But it seems most people were doing a bit of that fuel saving tonight. So who really knows? But
Yeah.
are you looking forward to the rain races in these cars? Because, I mean, I've heard a lot about understeer in these things. I think in the wet, it's not really going to get much better.
I normally tend to go quite well in the rain, so I'm kind of hopeful that rain will be kind to me yet again. So we'll see.
A potential first win this season in the rain for Cook. You heard it here first, folks.
You know, I can hope, but I don't think it's going to happen.
That just goes to show.
If I may,
Yeah.
so now after 2 preseason races, what do you think about the lobby settings, especially when it comes to fuel and tire wear, and also the balance of performance between the cars?
I think fuel and tire wear is pretty spot on, really. And it seems that there's not really a foregone conclusion in terms of the tire strategy, so that's quite nice. And then obviously, fuel's kind of like roughly on the edge of being able to make it work with some fuel savings, so that helps mix it up as well. So I'm happy with that. Balance of performance, I don't really know, because there's only been one Lambo, so it's kind of hard to compare.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like I said, the Corvette, I can never. My qualifying was nowhere, but then I was very competitive in the race, so it's kind of hard to place what the Corvette's like.
Yeah. I mean, obviously in this race for me, it was really the biggest thing was keeping your tire somewhat in the window. I was managing to keep the left sides at about 100 degrees.
Yeah, mine was pretty toasty as well.
So who knows? Maybe the Corvette is just better on the tires a bit, being easier to drive and therefore being more consistent. That's at least what my experience with the Corvette was, that it was a bit more forgiving than some of the other cars. So I guess that also helps with race pace. But yeah, and in regards of BOP, I was actually more on about like if any of the cars should have been placed in a BOP other than the Lambo, or do you think it's fairly even, or maybe it's just track dependent or something like that?
Seems fairly even so far with people I've been fighting.
Yeah, I mean, the impression I'm getting is that some of the Aston drivers seem to be dominating, but the car, I mean, I can't call it the most stable thing because I'm still seeing a lot of mistakes being made, so.
Yeah. I think it's at least for me, because I had to go so extreme with my setup. It's a bit of a delicate situation to get the pace out of there. At least for me.
And what would you say is the least understeery car in the selection, Keza?
The Viper probably. Because you can just bend it to your will, essentially. You can just throw it in and make it work. I did some setup work with Eddie just to try some stuff out. Was actually faster with the Maserati than with the Aston during practice. So you can get that thing to oversteer, which was not possible with the Aston. I wanted to make it oversteer, but it really didn't want to. At least on like corner exit. Yeah, it's tough to say. I think the probably a well balanced car is probably the Corvette, and obviously the Lambo. The Maserati is oversteering in the slow stuff and a bit more understeering in the fast stuff, which makes it more stable. The Aston is just full on understeer unless you absolutely punch the crap out of the setup. And the Viper, I think you can oversteer whenever you want, essentially.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to think about when you choose your car in this series. Now, could you, and this is my final question for you, Casey, could you remind us what the rule is about changing cars in this league?
So in theory, it is possible. You would lose all points scored up until that point, should you want to change.
So that is another reason to be in those preseason races, because you lose no points changing your car before the first points paying round.
Correct.
All right, well,
Obviously, the car needs to be available. If all the cars are picked, then obviously you can't change to that. But yeah.
so that's when you DDoS the other drivers and join as a reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, you nearly got away with it as well.
If it wasn't for certain meddling kids. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on, Cuckoo, and wishing you the best of luck as well for the upcoming season. Looking forward to plenty more defensive drives.
It should be a really good season, to be honest. It's been so good battling in these cars so far, so I'm actually really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, fights are lasting whole stints. It's really the pit stops that are kind of spoiling the fights half the time.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll ban pit stops. There we go.
and disable fuel entirely.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Thank you for coming in, Mia, and see you next week.
Yep, indeed. Hopefully, a similarly good result for me next week, and hopefully everyone stays connected.
Thanks for coming on. Have a good one.
Yeah, let's hope so. Yeah. See ya.
Ta-ta.
Okay, so I actually do have a little bit of an idea for maybe an event that we could try at some point, as to well, not for like a league series or anything, but maybe like a one-time event we could do is basically just have a race where everyone has the same, well, like maximum amount of fuel or whatever, and we ban refueling and just see what the furthest distance is that someone can get on that one
challenge.
tank. Yeah, exactly.
I think Jetlin did something like that. I don't know if it was in AMS2 already or in PC2. I think he did Indy cars at Indianapolis or something, and then banned refueling, and you just had to go the furthest distance. So he did that before. We could definitely try it as a fun event at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting for sure. But I think that's gonna be it for the interviews, as Bernd has moved to the Hangout channel. So,
yeah.
Are there any more comments you have to share with the audience as the season truly kicks off next week?
No, I couldn't agree more with what Mia said. I think fights are going to be really good. There seems to be virtually no dirty air. The different cars are fairly even when it comes to lap time, but are still stronger in different parts of the track. So that makes for exciting battles. Drivers are good. If the servers hold, it's going to be a good season, I'm pretty sure.
All right, well, with those remarks, we're going to end it for tonight. So thank you very much for joining, everyone. And hopefully we won't be seeing any more of that Steam sabotage. But that's been Martin and Keza. We're off for the night. And all I can say is good night, everyone.
Good night.